Hello and welcome to Euphoria. On this YouTube channel you'll find updates on my Lego city with its modular buildings, squares and little details, as well as videos on other Lego topics such as builds, ideas and techniques, and my own designs. In this series of videos we're modifying the Sanctum Sanctorum building from the Lego set from 2022 to improve its suitability for my Lego city. In this video we're going to carry straight on from the previous episodes in which we changed the ground floor and created a modified first floor, and in this episode we'll be adding a brand new second floor to the building. I really like this building, and as a traditional style city mansion I think it easily deserves a place in my Lego city. But I'm changing it so that it isn't specifically the Sanctum Sanctorum building that you find in the Marvel universe, and it will become an ordinary city building in the style of a classic mansion house. As we've discussed in previous videos, the original Lego model has a strange mismatch of scales between the outside and the inside. On the outside it appears to have two separate middle floors with two layers of windows, but on the inside it's one very tall floor. So the main change we're making to the building is to split the one tall floor into a separate first floor and second floor, each with its own row of windows. In previous videos in this series we already made some significant changes and improvements to this building. We made some changes to the layout of the ground floor and made some improvements to the windows. For the first floor, we split the floor into two, changed up the windows to make them bigger, worked out what height to make the walls so they could work with new columns, added a new internal staircase, then completed rebuilding the walls and added back some detail to the interior. Now we're going to create a new second floor for the building. Let's just think about what we need in this new floor. We already split the previous tall floor into two, with one row of windows in each section. Unfortunately, we destroyed most of the existing upper part because we needed the parts to make the modified first floor. So we had to get some more parts to build this new second floor, and I'm still not sure whether I've got all the right pieces that we need. For this second floor, I don't want to just duplicate the first floor. For most Lego modular buildings, you can duplicate the middle floor, but that idea hasn't been followed for this building, and I'm not going to follow it either. So for this model, this new second floor will be different from the first floor. The facade of this new floor will need to be in keeping with the floor below and also support the roof, which will change as well, but we'll come on to that in a later episode. The windows for the facade and the side elevation will be similar in style to the ones in the floor below, to provide continuity so we don't break up the lines of the building. We'll need to decide how to tackle the window in the middle of the front, because I'm not that impressed with the treatment of that window in the original set. We'll need some columns on the exterior of the walls to continue the pattern of those below. We're going to include a new staircase up to the attic or dormer space in the roof, because there isn't one in the original set, and I don't expect minifigs in my city to be able to magically fly up to the top floor. There might be enough space on this floor to somehow create 2 rooms, which would address an issue I have with the original set, that there's only 1 room per floor of the building. I did try modelling some of the changes I want to make in the Studio Design app to see what might be possible, but I didn't design all of it because I want to play with the bricks rather than spending all my time on the computer. So again, quite a lot of this build will be trial and error, and we'll have to see how we get on as we go along. So let's make a start with creating this new level of the building. We're going to start by building a new floor plate for the second floor. The new floor plate has to be the same basic size and shape as the one below. The staircase from the floor below determines the position of the access to this floor, so we need a hole in the floor plate in just the right place for the stairs to come up into. We're making the floor plate with the usual combination of large plates for the floor itself and smaller plates, mostly 2 by something, underneath to join them together and support them. I was quite attracted by the idea of using a curved plate for the corner and trying to fit a curved railing to make a balcony. But as we need to continue the columns in the same position as the floor below, the exit out of the building onto the balcony would be a bit narrow. I thought of using one of those angled door frames to provide a door out onto the balcony, but then there's no room for the bricks with a stud on the side that I would need to attach the columns to the wall. Then I wondered if we could insert the door frame the other way round so that the door opens inwards. That looks like it could work, and on this side it looks great, but it would block the window on the other side, on the end of the front facade, which isn't going to look very good, and that window is important to keep the symmetry of the front facade. I tried playing around with this in studio as well, and I'm disappointed to say that I couldn't find a way to make it work without requiring major changes to the rest of the building. So we're going to revert back to a corner window idea like the one on the floor below, and that means that we don't need the curved plate and we need an angled plate at this corner instead. So that's the basic floor plate for this new floor completed, although as you can see I might need to source one or two plates in the right colours. Now we're going to look at the height of the walls for this new floor. I'd like this floor to be a bit shorter than the one we made in the previous episode. That's partly because I don't want the building to be too high, but also when you look at these types of buildings in real life, the higher floors are often slightly shorter with less grand rooms. The first floor that we modified last time ended up at 8 bricks high. So given that the normal Lego minifig scale doors are 6 bricks high, it feels like 7 bricks is a good target height for the walls of this new story. We need to match the stairs to the height of the walls, meaning that the staircase can be 7 steps or stairs, just 1 brick less than the one we made for the floor below. That means we can use a normal open staircase piece for the staircase, with just the plate and tile layers above it to make the 7 bricks in total. The columns on the outside of the building need to be the right height for the new walls, and that means some minor changes to their design for this floor. They'll use a 1x6 tile and some other parts to give me a height of exactly 7 bricks. This is what the new columns look like. They have a small base at the bottom as well as a simplified capital at the top. Now we know the height and shape of the walls, we can work out the design for the façade. As the height of the walls is just 1 brick less than the floor below, we can just use the same design for the windows, but use a 2x2 window frame instead of one of the 2x3 frames that we used on the floor below. We can still include the Juliet balconies that we had on the floor below, attached using brackets in the same way, which I think worked quite well. We'll position the windows the same way as the floor below to continue the building line upwards. And of course the columns either side will also be placed in line with those below. The angled corner will have a window at a 45-degree angle built into it. The surround for the window is an assembly of brackets, plates, bricks with studs on the side and tiny slope pieces made in a similar way to the one on the floor below. And the window assembly is attached at the required angle to a round plate with a hole on the floor plate to get the position and spacing of the window just right in the recess. So that's most of the facade of this floor done, except that now we need to consider what to do with the central window in the front of the facade. I feel we need to do something better than the small window in the centre that was part of the original set. But I don't want to just repeat the round window that we did manage to include in the first floor as part of the improvements we made in the previous video. Looking at the original model, I think what they were trying to represent here is a doorway leading out onto a balcony, although the scale is really messed up with a tiny door and a minifig-sized railing. Now, I don't feel the need to be true to the original model, and after all, we're here to change it, but that does give me an idea. As we missed out on the balcony on the corner of the building, maybe we could put one here. And in fact there is enough height to get a proper minifig-sized door out onto the balcony using a regular door frame in here. We can extend the floor plate out a bit to form a balcony. Some railings in the same style as the ones in front of the windows can keep this consistent with the rest of the building. And after having a play, I find that we could get an arch over the door, which would be consistent in style with the arch over the round window on the floor below. So that is the windows and walls, and now a door, that make up the façade complete. Now we can add the rest of the walls. The side and back walls are pretty featureless, so we can build them in the same style as the walls on the floor below. That's a mixture of masonry profile bricks and plain bricks in medium nougat and light bluish grey, some from the original set, but some that I've added as well. I'm using some of these 1x5x6 panels, although ideally we'd have a couple more of the medium nougat ones. At the moment I'm not adding any internal walls. We need to think about that in a minute, and that may change some of the external walls slightly. And finally we can add the layer of tiles and a few location studs at the top of the walls that will allow the next floor to be separated from this one. Now we can look at the layout of the interior. I think there's room on this floor of the building to make more than one room. Maybe we could make, say, a living room and a kitchen. That probably means dividing the space into two, somewhere down the middle here, although we also need to leave access to this doorway. We also need to include a staircase to the top floor, and the position of the staircase is a bit tricky. We have to think about not just the layout of this floor, but also where the staircase will emerge on the floor above. I won't go through all the options, but I was considering putting the staircase in the middle of the floor, here, rather than against a wall. But then the space above the existing staircase is rather wasted, and I would also have a hole in the middle of the top floor. So I decided to mount the staircase on the end wall again, over the hole from the staircase below. That will give us the most flexibility about how to use the space on both floors. At the top of the staircase will be the landing for the top floor when I come to adjust that level of the building. Now we can decide what to do with the internal layout for this floor. As we said before, I have in mind to divide it down the middle, maybe using this bookcase as part of the wall, and then have a door between the two rooms. This side, with all the windows, can be the living space, and this side can be the kitchen and provide access up the staircase to the next floor. So there we have the internal wall, which incorporates the large bookcase and includes a door into the living room. Now we can finish off this level of the building by detailing the interior. I'm going to start with the living room on this side. Here I've removed the wall that I carefully built because against this wall we're going to add a fireplace. It's going to be quite a grand fireplace to suit the style of the house and ensure that this is a nice warm and cosy living room. The chimney will go up through the room above to appear in one of the chimney pots on the roof. We'll add a large and comfy Chesterfield type leather sofa. I'm going to poach a couple of items from the roof section of the original build to use in the living room. This vitrine or cabinet and this helmet on a display stand. And I'm going to see if I can get some of this wall decoration into the living room as well. So here I've put the vitrine in between the two front windows with the helmet on its stand next to it. Then I've added one of the artifacts from the ground floor on its own little stand. We have the bookcase, of course, and I managed to get the two axes on the wall over the fireplace, and there's even the world map on the wall. Now we can move on to the kitchen area. We can use the fridge that we saved from the ground floor, and that fits very nicely against the internal wall here. Then of course, no kitchen is complete without a range of kitchen units and appliances. And then we can add some kitchen cabinets using cabinet elements mounted into the wall, which means that the last of the 1x5x6 wall panels has to go and be replaced by bricks. I've added an extractor for the kitchen with the idea that the fumes will go up through the wall and emerge through a vent on the roof. So, with the completion of the kitchen, I'll regard the interiors of these two rooms as done. So that completes the creation of this new second floor for the building. To make this new floor, we created a new floor plate worked out what height to make the walls so they could work with new columns and an internal staircase, designed a new façade that would fit with the rest of the building, finished off the walls, designed a new interior layout including 2 rooms and access to the top floor, and added some furniture and fixtures to detail the interior. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the modification of this building as we work out the changes stage by stage. Look out for the next episode in this series, in which we'll tackle the modifications that I want to make to the top floor and roof of the building. I think those will include the most significant change to the appearance of the building, and hopefully complete its conversion into a more normal city mansion house. I'm starting to think about what to call this building when it's complete, as it certainly won't be the Sanctum Sanctorum building anymore. I think it needs to have a new name. So if you have any ideas about what we could name this building, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked this video, hit the bell to be informed of any updates, look out for more videos about these modifications, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more about this project, other mocks, and further developments in my LEGO city.